live. If you can hear me, be sure and say so in the comments. A little bit later than I wanted to start today. But anyway, I'm Matt from the BAAM Ranch and figured we would do another episode of the BAAM Ranch podcast. BAAM Ranch podcast is where we talk about building lives we love to live through preparedness-based homesteading. And as you probably read with the title of today's podcast, is the fall of our empire. And that's not a anti-patriotic thing, has nothing to do with being patriotic or anything like that. It's just simply an observation of speaking specifically to Americans about the empire that we are living in. And America is, in fact, an empire. And by empire, I mean that we are able to project both hard and soft power, with soft power being, sanctions and foreign aid and money and, business talk toward other countries, and hard power being, your bombs and planes and tanks and things like that. And we use both hard and soft power to setting my chat up right quick. But we use both hard and soft power to project our power across globally, and we are really the most effective at projecting that power. And we control other nations and have influence on them politically and militarily, and how they conduct trade and everything else. So yes, in my opinion, America does qualify as an empire. And like all empires, they say the average age of an empire is about 250 years before the empire starts to fall. And looking at everything historically in the past, it looks like, unfortunately, the empire that we're in is on its way down. And let's go over some of that stuff, some of the things that make me think that our empire is falling. Well, political division, that's one, rumors of war and ongoing wars that really serve the direct empire, no real purpose. Inflation of the currency and devaluation of that, corruption, the decline of patriotism, and a few other things. So those are just a few examples. There's way more than what we could, what we've got time to go through in this podcast that kind of signal historically the fall of empires. And let's discuss each and every one of these right quick. Hey, I want to remind you, if you're new here, subscribe to my channel and, go ahead and hit the thumbs up button, give me a like, and double tap the screen for the hearts and all of that stuff. Now, if you have something you want me to address, type it in all caps so that my blind self can see it. I'm looking here and over here at the laptop because my memory sucks. So anyway, back up to the top of my list of notes here. So political division. If you don't think that we're in political division, I don't know what to say. This is the worst. We've all seen it, right? We're under this huge, we hear about warfare, but lawfare, using the law, weaponizing the law against politicians. And, it used to be that, the right thought of, or one side thought of the other side as good people that just have the wrong idea on the way they thought things should be done. The good people, they just got their ideas messed up. And it's no longer like that. We are so divided at this point that it's just, there are these people these bad people that have good ideas, not good people with bad ideas, but just bad people. And they have these ideas that they come up with. And that's the way both sides view the other side, is just terrible people. And anything that they think of is ridiculous. We just went through this huge, conviction of Donald Trump. Tell me that's not weaponizing the law. That's not, warfare by way of law. The Hunter Biden thing. Once again, that's political lawfare. What are my thoughts on both? Well, with Hunter Biden, show me who the victim was. Does he need to go to jail? Find me a victim. He'd commit, this case was specifically on a gun charge. Lying on the background check and things like that. Well, the fact is, as far as I'm concerned, that background check was unconstitutional. He did nothing wrong. Show me the victim, and then we can talk about sending somebody to jail. With Trump, this case where he supposedly inflated his assets to get a loan from a bank. Well, you know what? He secured the loan, paid the loan back. The bank made millions of dollars off of him and were more than happy to loan him money again. Once again, you want to send somebody to jail and convict them of a crime? Show me the victim. If you can't show me the victim, don't come at me about whether or not somebody needs to go to jail. As stated, this is the absolute worst I think that any of us have seen, the political division. There is no middle ground anymore. People who have absolutely lost their minds over this stuff. Someone's asking who I voted for. I voted for Donald Trump. I don't think the orange man is going to fix anything, but I have a pretty good confidence that he's not going to screw it up any worse than our other option, which is, the potato head. We get the potato head and we get the orange man. That's what we have to pick from. So do we want a turd sandwich, or do we want a turd sandwich with mustard? Those are our options in this election. I don't want either one of them. And in my opinion, I think that we should have a third option listed on every presidential election ballot. We have, the different parties, Republican, Democrat, Libertarian, Independent, whatever. And then there's an extra option that just says tar and feathers. And if tar and feathers wins the vote, I think we automatically tar and feather the incumbent, and then we start another vote immediately. And that is that we take all of the alphabet agencies, all of the elemental P agencies, and we have a vote on the director of which one we get to tar and feather after that. And in order to pay for that, how are we going to come up with the funding for this? Simple. We're just going to, if you get a tax return, whenever you file your taxes at the end of the year, you can donate a certain amount of money to the tar and feather fund. That's just my thoughts on that. Like I said, the incumbent automatically gets tar and feathered. What's wrong with Trump? I don't think it's a matter of what's wrong with Trump, but what could be more right about Trump. Trump is the one who originally pushed through the bump stock ban. Trump is the one who originally, albeit going on bad advice, shut down the country over COVID-19, which I shouldn't have said that out loud. I'll probably get banned for that. But I do think that Trump is a better option than the potato, right? Orange man seems to be less bad than potato. So how about rumors of wars, and not just hot wars, but shipping wars, political wars, go back to the lawfare type thing. Is there any doubt that we're in a proxy war involved with Ukraine? That's something that tends to happen with the fall of empires. They're in useless wars that really do nothing for the particular empire itself. But they serve to do things like add corruption, give the chance to launder money through military support and aid packages. So that kind of, that there's no doubt that we're doing that. What about Israel? Is the United States in a proxy war alongside Israel? I think so. How do I feel about World War II? World War II was what it was. It was a war that, I tell you what, we can get into that sometime, but we need to go ahead and cruise on with this. I got a lot to cover. Maybe at the end we can come back to how I felt about it. China, we're not in a hot war with China yet, but we're sure as hell in a trade war with China. We're inching more and more toward a war with China each and every day. Shipping war on who's going to control, global shipping. Yeah, I'd say we're in a big, we're in the thick of it right there. So this is basically a Cold War that we've entered in with all of the superpowers of the world. The only real superpower, which most people don't think of as a superpower, that we're not in a Cold War with currently, is India. And India is something that doesn't need to be overlooked. India is the fastest growing economy and population and manufacturing center and nuclear power, the fastest upcoming nation of all other nations right now. And they're going to surpass Russia, China, United States. They're going to surpass all three of those before long. And there's just no doubt about it, right? What about these other wars that are, or I guess they're not really wars, but what about all these other proxy things that we're just not in a declared war with? Think about all of the H people, right? The Hezbollah, the Houthis, all of those people. All the stuff going on around Yemen, and over in the Middle East. Every single day, they're launching, airstrikes, drone strikes, and missile strikes out of freaking, plumbing pipe and sugar rockets. These things cost like $50 to make, at civilian merchant ships. And they're doing it so often that the news just kind of quit reporting about it. It's not that big a deal anymore. Somebody's bringing up the Iraq war. I don't think that we ever left the Iraq war. Yeah, we pulled some troops out of there in the most terrible way possible, but we're still over there. We're still doing stuff over there, right? And there's more to it than what they're telling us about why we left all that equipment there. Iran. We're in a proxy war with Iran. And we're doing that because they themselves are a proxy for Russia. And it's just, the list goes on and on about rumors of wars and battles for control, of shipping and economy and everything else like that. Every empire in the past that has fallen has gone through that. There's no doubt. What about inflation of our currency? Not only inflation, but just flat out devaluation. Inflation is the biggest tax that most of us pay. And you see it reported in the news, and they say, oh, well, inflation went down. It's wonderful. Inflation went down. We're recovering. We're back to normal. Okay. Well, let me stop. Let me explain inflation, because most people, for some reason, don't understand this, because for political reasons, it's not really reported with the whole truth. Let's say I wear a, 40-inch size waistband pants. And I decide I need to lose weight. I need to stop my belly inflation. So I'd give it a shot. In 1 year, I gain 3 inches of inflation. The next year, I add another 2 inches. After that, third year, I add 4 inches. And then on the last year that I'm keeping count, I dropped to 1 inch. That doesn't mean my pant size shrunk. I'm still like 10 inches bigger than what I was to begin with. Inflation is cumulative. If I have 2% for 2 years, after that's over, inflation didn't stay the same. It went up by 4%. And over the past 4 years, we've seen, there's no telling what the actual number of inflation is because they just change the way they calculate it. They just change it. It doesn't sound good enough. Let's take food, gas, utilities. Let's take all the stuff that actually matters. Let's take the cost of housing out. Let's just, not consider that, right? Well, what the hell are you using to judge it then? I mean, hell, the Dollar Tree isn't even a dollar anymore. So I just wanted to explain that analogy of inflation. What weapon should be used in our next war? I'll tell you right now, the weapon that will be used in the next war probably won't be bombs and planes and, guns and armor and stuff like that. It's the weapon that's currently being used, which is the weapon of information. See, because here's the thing, this is what they refer to as fifth generation warfare. And under fifth generation warfare, it's the war of narratives. We don't know who the enemy is because anybody can put out any narrative they want. And how are you going to disprove that? Everything you look at has a bias. And every statement you hear from any politician or anybody that holds an office of any importance, whether that's a politic or a bureaucrat, it doesn't matter. Everything that they put out is a carefully crafted press release. It's a media statement. And that's what the majority of the next war, which is currently going on right now, as far as I'm concerned, is going to be fought with. It's the war of information. As far as the inflation goes, and I'm sure you've heard the news, but it is, whenever we think of the United States spending on the Department of Defense, we think of this huge astronomical, gigantic number that is just unfathomable. But then we get the news that just the interest payment on the debt that the United States has racked up is going to exceed what we're going to spend on the United States Department of Defense. Freaking insane, dude. Like, I can't, that literally takes the words out of my mouth. I don't know what to say about that. Just the interest payments on our debt alone outpace the current spending of the United States of America Department of Defense, which is like 1 billion times more than any other nation in the world, right? It's probably like everything that every single country in Europe spends on their Department of Defense is just a minuscule drop in the bucket to what the United States spends on its own. And we're spending more just to make the interest payments on the debt than we're spending on the Department of Defense. Absolutely insane. If that doesn't absolutely anger you, you need to get your head checked, dude. Like, there's something wrong. And then we look at other things like, have you priced something like, I don't know, concrete? About 5 years ago, I was shopping around for a truck, and I could get a pretty nice truck, nothing fancy. I could get a pretty nice truck for $40,000. And that was one of the Dodge Ram tradesmen's, 3/4 ton, a good work truck, right? Now I was looking, there was the tradesman, the work truck model. I was looking at a dually, $106,000 for a basic work truck. Freaking insane. You're going to tell me inflation has gone down? And that's just as reflective of everything else that we purchase, right? We have 2 gaming laptops at our house. They're about the same build. One of them was purchased for like $1,200. The other one, 4 years later, about the same specs, was $2,000. Absolutely insane. So inflation and devaluation of the currency, yeah, I'd say that's happening, right? And that's what you get whenever you have any fiat currency. That's the first step toward devaluation and inflation. And you look at things like Bitcoin and all this stuff like that, they say, well, Bitcoin has no top because the dollar has no bottom. I think Jack Spirko is who I heard that from. And that is the absolute most truth. Why are your eyes so far apart? Dude, I ain't, whatever. You gonna sit there and talk crap on somebody on the internet? Probably because I have a wide angle lens on my phone right now. Inflation is so bad, it's pushing his, well, blow them out of my head. No, it's a wide angle lens on the camera. It's just, I don't have a whole lot of space. So my camera is literally the length of my hand away from my nose right now. Corruption. Yeah, we could say that that's probably one of the leading indicators of an empire that's falling. I know you're just trolling, man. Hey, if that's friendly fire, I apologize to you. But, I actually had to put on some comment moderation because of some of the stuff that was put on here during my last live stream. And those people can go screw off somewhere else. Inflation is because of population count? No, I think the inflation is because they flooded the whole friggin' country with, free money and stuff like that. All right, corruption. Oh, and I think inflation was intentional. If you want to control people, you control their currency. So keep that in mind. So, and now somebody said something about population, and I think the corruption absolutely plays into that. But immigration, now, illegal immigrants are not allowed to vote. We know that. We can have a conversation if you want about how they're giving them the right to vote and all this other stuff. Yes, it just all started in 1913. Absolutely get rid of the Federal Reserve. Yeah, that's exactly when it all started. But with immigration, they're not allowed to vote, but what are they allowed to do? They're allowed to move to these mega cities, these blue cities, because the vast majority of cities that accept these illegal aliens, these illegal immigrants, are blue. And if we can increase the population, whenever they take the census, they don't ask if they're here legally. They ask if they live there. That increases the population of these ultra blue areas. Whether they can vote or not doesn't matter. But that particular district gets more delegates come election time. It's just gerrymandering by another word, by another name, right? And so there is a political agenda and political incentive to, bring these immigrants in and move them into these big, blue cities. How many topics do I have left on my computer? Not many. Actually, I've got corruption, decline of patriotism, and what are some things we can do? So yeah, that's one level of corruption, one big example of corruption. Another example of corruption would be the military money laundering. The amount of money we're sending more to Ukraine than we're spending on the United States Marine Corps. What is that? Tell me, what? I know that they're not necessarily sending all of that in cash. They're sending it in material, however you want to say it. But come on, man, what's happening to that stuff? It's stuff, it's our old stock, and we need Raytheon to build us some new stock, or Lockheed, or, whatever. We need so we send them the old stuff and we get the new. Are you going to tell me there's not some kickback going on? Is that not an effective way to launder money? Absolutely it is. There's no telling how many billions of dollars went back into the pockets of the people who have the ability to influence decision here in the United States, in our failing empire. What about the drug companies? When was the last, and I want you to answer in the comments for me right quick, if this applies to you. How many times have you got on TV, watched television, saw an ad for a drug company, a new medication, and went to your doctor and requested that particular drug? Let me repeat that again right quick. Tell me in the comments. You see an advertisement for a new drug from a pharmaceutical company on television. How many of you have went to your doctor and purchased that drug or requested that drug because you saw it on TV? I don't know anybody that has. I know 0 people that have done that. But the drug companies can't just bribe the media to say what they want them to say politically. But what they can do is spend a cumulative billions of dollars, at minimum hundreds of millions, in advertisements. And then they get to say, you know what, your agenda doesn't quite align with our agenda. We don't want to support that. So we're going to pull our advertising dollars from you. Well, congratulations. You just effectively purchased every media company in the United States. Is that corruption? Absolutely it is. Absolutely. America, land of the free, where liberals want to take your rights away. Dude, it's not just the liberals anymore. It's not just the liberals anymore. Not at all. Not at all. Once again, if there's something you want me to address, put it in all caps so my blind self can see it. I only got one good eye and it doesn't work very well. That right there, absolutely. You've purchased the media. You've purchased what is reported in the news, and you've done it perfectly legally. Because you know what? We just don't want our product to be represented by this, so we're going to go ahead and pull the funding. That's all it takes. That's it. Nothing else. Nothing else. Then let alone the fact that, look at these senators. They make $160,000 a year. How are they coming out as deca millionaires after, 4 to 6 years? Explain that to me. Explain the fact to me that ETFs, and if you don't know what an ETF is, please say something in the comments. It's just, it's an exchange traded fund. It's a way of trading a mutual fund in the stock market that you can trade like a stock. You trade it like a stock, but it's set up like a mutual fund. So there are ETFs. You can go right now and buy an ETF that is a Nancy Pelosi ETF. It does nothing other than trade stocks that match what Nancy Pelosi did, or Lindsey Graham. And that's just 2 of them. There's hundreds, and this is at the state level too, not just at the federal level. But yeah, that's how bad it is. You have mutual funds that do nothing other than mirror the trades of your politicians that make $160,000 a year, yet after 4 to 6 years come out as deca billionaires, worth 10, 20, $30 million. There's corruption all over that. Yes, I know mutual funds and ETFs aren't the same. It's kind of an oversimplified. They are vastly different, but for simplicity, they're not necessarily mutual funds, but they're not individual stocks. An ETF is an exchange traded fund. It's a group of stocks that you can trade daily as if it were a stock. Term limits for Congress and the Senate. Yeah, I bet you can get them to vote themselves into that. If you can do that, dude, you're sitting on a gold mine. One other level of corruption that's going on right now. Look at all of these illegal immigrants that are coming over, and we're vetting them. We're vetting them. We're doing the background checks and we're checking them out. Dude, really? Like, are you kidding me? So you picked up the phone, you called the DMV in Mogadishu to see if they had a criminal record? This dude that came over that doesn't have any form of ID with him, nothing. He's just telling you what his name is and where he's from. You don't have any way to see if he's telling the truth or not. Oh, well, I'm from Burma. I'm Burmese. I'm from Myanmar. So did you just call up the Myanmar Department of Criminal Records and ask them about this dude that just made up some name? You want to tell me that they're vetting these people coming across the border? I don't know if you can see the grin on my face, but that is the absolute funniest statement I think I've heard in years. That blows my mind that they're actually telling people that. But you know what's crazy? People are believing that shit. People are lapping that shit up. They believe every freaking bit of it. We're giving all our supplies to Ukraine, so anybody tax us, we're screwed. Yeah, in a nutshell, yeah, it's exactly what we're doing. So what about the decline of patriotism? Do we even need to discuss how that, does anybody, whether you're a freaking diehard Republican, you're an independent, maybe you're a freaking anarchist, blue-haired liberal, does anybody need convinced that there has been a huge, massive decline in patriotism? It's almost not worth discussing, right? How many want to serve now as compared to, let's say 15 years ago? And by serve, I don't just mean in the military. I mean, how many want to serve the country as in it's the patriotic thing. It used to be a patriotic thing to get a job working for the federal government, right? It used to be the patriotic thing to support the postman. It used to be the patriotic thing to support the DEA. And it was a noble job to have. It used to be, I would have never, the thought of not saying the Pledge of Allegiance whenever I was in elementary school, that was just freaking, nobody ever thought of that. We loved where we were from. And you know what? This nation that I'm bashing right now, for everything going wrong with it right now, it's still the absolute best looking horse in the auction, in my opinion. And even though I recognize the problems that we have here, and I'm sure that some of y'all do too, I'm sure most of y'all recognize the problems we have, we still like it. But the level of patriotism in all walks of people, you want to tell me it's not falling like a rock? And that right there is, you're pretty deep into the fall of an empire at that point, and it doesn't matter what it is, it could be Russia, there was a video that went kind of viral, and we only think of patriotism as an American thing, but there's this Russian video that went kind of viral, and it was a video of all these younger people dancing and singing along, just having a great time. And I don't remember the exact lyrics of the song, but it was, we're from Russia and we love Russia. And they felt just the same way about their country as we do ours. The thing is, I really think we're approaching a time where Russia may actually be more patriotic than Americans. That's wild, dude. And then we look at who we're supporting. We're supporting the dude that everybody hates in Ukraine, Zelensky. You know, he's the suspended elections because his ass would be out of there. And it's just a matter of time till we find a reason, you know, we being the United States, I guess it's they, I'm not involved with the decision, decides that we're just gonna flick him off like a freaking booger, like a dirty booger, give him the flick. We're done with him. We're gonna do the same thing to Netanyahu as well, eventually. Am I saying that that's right or wrong? Well, that's a topic for a discussion that we're not having at the moment. But we get to looking around, how many of these countries that we're supporting are really, really patriotic? I think we could probably count Israel as patriotic. But yeah, Russians are united. We're spending all this time and energy helping liberate the Ukrainians, which really the Russians just want the Donbass region, and most of them claim to be ethnic Russians, not Ukrainians. So we're not actually helping Ukraine. We're helping the one part of Ukraine that wants to be Russian anyway. You know, and I'm making general statements. I'm not saying it's all like that, but yeah, you know, there's people that I personally know that you know, I knew two people were mutual friends through me that used to be they used to get along pretty well. And their political views, they let that crap out on Facebook. Now they hate each other, you know. But the level of patriotism in the United States has absolutely fallen. And I don't think it's coming back. I really don't. I think that ship has sailed, and there might be, you know, 2-3 generations down the road, we might start to get some of that patriotism back. And I'm not saying that everybody hates the United States. I love the United States. There's nowhere else that I want to live. Where would I go if I couldn't live in the United States? Well, that's simple. I wouldn't go. I'd stay here and I'd fight for where I'm at. I would fight for the prettiest looking horse in the glue factory. It's simple as that. How can we support Trump when he tried to overthrow the government? I'm going to go back to the Mogadishu example. That is what an insurrection looks like. I don't think that Trump tried to overthrow the government in the sense of what the media tells us. I don't think that Trump was any more guilty of any of the things that happened than Biden was of all of the exact same things that happened to the people on his side. You know, it's funny how the things that we complain about, they kind of both did it. You know, the leaked documents, well, they both did it. You know, it's just almost every single thing, right? It turns out they both did it. Turns out they were both on the Epstein client list. Like I said, we're choosing between a turd sandwich and a turd sandwich with mustard. I guess I'll take the mustard. You know, so what can we do about it? I mean, if we're going to try to fix it, what can you and I do? Just damn near nothing. But, you know, we can affect some change, you know, and that there are ways to do that. The thing is you got to start with you. Get your house in order, right? Start with you, then your wife and kids. If your house isn't in order, you ain't gonna fix nothing. Just build your own resilience, your own preparedness. Can you sustain for a week? What about 3 weeks? What about 3 months? If you haven't built your life in a sustainable manner, how do I feel about World War III? We're already in it, bro. It's the war of narratives. I don't know if it's going to go as a hot war or not, but we're there. We've been in there. SHTF actual is happening right now. Like, this is it. But anyway, get your house in order. And then what do? Maybe your extended family, your parents, your aunts, your uncles, your cousins, your brothers, your sisters. Then your next door neighbor. If you could do something just as small as trading eggs to your neighbor, or you don't even have to trade eggs to your neighbor. Just walk over there and offer them eggs. Establish a group of people that you trust to be able to do life with. And that's how that happens. You don't run out and say, look, I'm trying to start a prepper group. Y'all come on and we're going to discuss throwing on our multi-cam chest rigs and we're going to get the guns. Well, first of all, if somebody joins your group and that's the part that they're, most interested in talking about, there's two things that going on there. One of them is he's stupid. The other one is that guy's a fed. Either way, you need them out there. You don't want them around. Have I served? No, I haven't. I have not served. So build a group of people that you can trust. Build a group of people that you can do life with. Your family, you, your house, your family, your neighbors, your neighborhood, your city, county, state, region, federal. The only way you're going to fix anything is from the bottom up. And I was listening to a podcast from Nicole Sauce from the Living Free in Tennessee podcast. And there was TJ Morris from Bear Independent, John Willis of Special Operations Equipment, which I'm actually wearing a shirt from them right now. And Nicole Sauce, obviously. And they were just having a round table. And what he talked about was there was a new commissioner or something like that came into this town where John Willis is. And it's, no farm animals and you got to keep your grass up. And you got to understand, this is a town of like a few thousand people, right? This is nothing. But this dude came from Chicago and he decided to come to this, small town, Tennessee, and start enforcing all this stuff. And I think it was Bear, from Bear Independent, that brought it up, was Flamingo the politicians, right? So he put forward this ordinance about plastic lawn decorations. Well, they said, you ought to just find 300 people once a month to all on the same day donate 300 pink flamingos and just have his whole freaking yard of this guy, of this politician, covered in pink flamingos. Take their system and turn it against them. They want to get rid of chickens inside the city limits. People who have chickens are normally pretty nice and giving people, right? So what if we had 30 chicken owners once a week, every Thursday? We all got together and we're going to help this guy out. We're going to send him a dozen chicken eggs, 2 dozen eggs. And you have 40 people send 2 dozen eggs to this guy. And, oh man, what if I got some eggs out of a rotten nest? Oops, my fault. I didn't mean to do that. Because see, there's nothing that he can really do with that many eggs. But here's the thing. He also passed an ordinance where you can't throw away animal waste in the dumpster. So he can't throw it away because that's, it's animal waste. So you're taking the system that they put in place and turning it against them. That's how you take care of that. Another thing is people talk about, well, I want to start a business, but the government's going to be in my way. There was a place in Virginia, and this is something I heard from Jack Spirko on the Survival Podcast. There's a place in Virginia. It was either Virginia or West Virginia. I don't remember. It doesn't matter. They were wanting to sell raw milk. And the state said, nope, we're going to PP slap you. You can't sell raw milk. It's illegal to do. Okay, we'll sell it as pet food. Nope, can't do that either. Oh, man. So what do? What do? I got an idea. We'll sell it as a soil amendment. will sell this raw milk as a soil amendment. And we'll put a label on this raw milk that says, keep refrigerated so it will remain fresh until you amend your soil. On the other side, we're going to print a label that says, it is a violation of the law to use this product in a way that is not intended. And then we're going to take that thing and we're going to set it in front of that inspector, that bureaucrat, and there ain't a damn thing he can do about it. So you don't overthrow a bad government. You just render them obsolete. That's it. You just render them obsolete. And there ain't nothing that inspector was able to do about this raw milk soil amendment. But all of these things that, stated about what can we do, it really revolves around, your own personal excellence. Do what you can to get healthier, wealthier, smarter, stronger, better. Well, anyway, is there any questions that anybody has? Let's go ahead and have a little bit of a discussion. There's a whole bunch of comments up here, and I'm going to scroll back through and see if there's any questions that somebody had. If you have something, be sure and put it in all caps, and we can discuss it. Edging in. But yeah, if you have something you want to discuss, put it in all caps. I'm not going to answer that. It's none of your business. Actually, I'm going to remove that. This is a family-oriented channel. So, oh, my laptop just died. Oh, well, good thing I was done with it. So we had an event, it is approaching summertime. We came home on Sunday night and heard the loudest racket I had ever heard. And I'll post a short on my video about this. There was a freaking snake that wound up crawling inside of our air conditioning unit. You talk about making a loud noise. Chopped that snake up into 1,000 freaking pieces. And I was excited. I was going to get to bed on time. I was looking forward to it. So yeah, that's what I got to bed late because I was trying to get that snake out of my freaking, let's see. Imagine if that snake crawled up in, sorry, man. Yeah, so we spent a pretty good amount of time, dragging all the little pieces of snake out of that. Hey, dude, come on, man. We got family and that watches this, kids and stuff, so try to keep it clean, man. I appreciate jokes as much as anybody else. So I'm not going to delete you. I'm just going to ask that you be respectful, And then today I was headed home from work and I freaking blew out, my water pump just absolutely crapped the bed, man. Absolutely crapped the bed. So I got to put a water pump on my truck this weekend. I got on Amazon and ordered one. Luckily, we've got extra ways to be able to take care of stuff and extra vehicles. And I'll probably make a YouTube video about that. If y'all are interested in that. And what this particular pickup is, it's a 98 Dodge Ram 1500. And so I'll probably make a YouTube video about that. None of y'all probably care about this, but I bought a zero-turn mower the other day. I have a video about that out as well. What else, man? Oh, yeah, Monday. I get home from work. My freaking garage door falls off, right? Just completely craps the bed on me. So, yeah, this has been a really, really busy week. I had a lot of stuff going on. Yeah, if y'all want to watch a video about that, I'll post them to the YouTube channel. I actually have some of those. I'll need to do the water pump video. Obviously, I don't have it in the mail yet. It's supposed to be here Saturday. So hopefully I can get that replaced on Sunday. Saturday or Sunday. We'll see. I did have a company reach out that wants to send me some product for some repair videos. So I'm waiting to hear back the specifics from them. I like mechanic videos. It's not really prepper stuff, right? But I think it's good information, and they all do well. You know, is that something that y'all are interested in? You know, mechanic stuff and fixing of the things. This particular thing that I'm going to try to get going is my old riding lawnmower. You know, this was a mower that was wore out whenever I got it 10 years ago. So see if we can't get that thing running. I got to get my four-wheelers going. Or, well, they run, but I need to, they look like crap, right? And I need to get them looking a little bit better. What else we got going on? Man, there's too much to list. There's too much to list. And go back through the comments and see what all has been asked or anything like that. So Russia is not patriotic. Oh, yeah, there's no doubt that there are groups in any country that are not patriotic. There's no doubt. Got a question for you. Okay, what's the question, Parker? There's no doubt that all countries have groups that are not, you know, they absolutely hate where they live. But the vast majority of them, and I'm not saying that they're any more or less than us, have 1 million in gold, cards, or Bitcoin. Which do you choose? In dollars? I would narrow that down to Bitcoin or dollars. That would be, I'd probably choose the dollars because, and here's why. I can take the fiat and in the same day, I can convert that fiat into real assets such as gold or Bitcoin or real estate or something like that. It's easier to convert fiat dollars into actual money or hard assets than it is, you know, with Bitcoin or gold or something like that. So yeah, I'd probably take the fiat just for that reason alone, is I can convert it over. Cash is trash. Absolutely, cash is trash. Take the cash, get rid of it as fast as you can, and buy hard assets. So that's how I'd handle that. As far as investing goes, while we're on that subject, if you don't have a year's worth of income set back, you don't need to be doing much investing. You know, well, I've got $5,000 to invest. What do I do with it? Bitcoin over gold? Probably so. And here's the reason why. Gold is wonderful. Get on an airplane with $10,000 worth of gold. You can do that just fine with Bitcoin. I can keep $10,000 worth of Bitcoin on my phone. If I want to do business, you know, I'm from Texas. Where are you from, Parka? And we'll talk about long distance transactions. If I want to do business I'm from Texas. If I want to do business right now, immediately, let's say Parka is okay, you're from Colorado. We can't conduct business with gold over Colorado over the next 10 minutes. We can do it with Bitcoin instantly. I can do it through an exchange. I can do it through Coinbase. I can send you can send, you know, if I'm sending the Bitcoin to you, you send me your Bitcoin address. We swap information with each other and nobody knows we had did anything with it. So that's the reason why I go with Bitcoin. You know, I'm not going to do, not that I need to do business with Russia, but if I have Bitcoin, I can do business with Russia. They're sanctioned right now. Try to do that in fiat. Try to do that with $1. You can't do it. Try to do that in silver or gold. You're going to mail some guy gold or silver and expect, you know, for that to work out. You know, so yeah, absolutely. Bitcoin, and I don't see Bitcoin as an investment, although it really is. I mean, Bitcoin has overtaken everything. So I think Bitcoin is the new digital gold. No, I think Bitcoin is the new Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin is something that really can't be compared. I understand what you're saying. The gold, as in the gold standard, um, the most secure of hard assets. Yeah, I think so. And here's the thing: there will never be more Bitcoin, and there are they've got a Bitcoin ETF, and it's just a matter of time before teachers and police police retirement accounts and firefighters, before all of them are invested with that. And one thing we know is we don't mess with the public servants. We don't mess with their retirements. They're going to be in the pension plans. And it gives them the opportunity to be able to get in it. They may want to have some type of crypto in their retirement account. And BlackRock creating the Bitcoin ETF allows that to happen. So I think that's a very important thing. Like I said, I don't necessarily view Bitcoin as an investment. I view it as a storage of wealth. Although, you think Bitcoin's high right now, buy Bitcoin now, wait 5 years. Bitcoin has no top because the dollar has no bottom. The euro has no bottom. The ruble has no bottom. That's why Bitcoin has no top, and it's going to go up. So although I don't view it as an investment, it would make a freaking epic investment if you chose to treat it that way. Look at the guy who spent a Bitcoin on a pizza. Man, he's pissed off right now. Waywin, you're back. Where'd you go? What do you think about World War II? Long page, man. Specifically, what about World War II? Do I think that there were absolute atrocities in World War II? Yeah. Were those atrocities done by Germany? Yeah. Were they done by Japan? Yeah. Were they done by the United States and everybody else? Yeah. We dropped two nuclear bombs on the country. We nuked the country twice, like actual nukes. What do you think about World War II? The thing about war is, it's not, the longer the war goes on, the more heinous and ruthless it becomes acceptable to act. The first day we entered World War II, we would have never, ever even considered firebombing entire cities built out of wood. But we wound up doing that. You've seen pictures of Germany at the, like a year, at the end of World War II. Man, I got news for you. Americans, we haven't seen war. We don't know what war is. Nobody alive today, aside from those who've been in the military, have seen war. And I wasn't alive there. How about we change the world currency to ours? Dude, the world reserve currency is already ours. What do you think the petrodollar is? Why do you think OPEC is a thing? Our dollar is backed by two things, which are a barrel of oil and an aircraft carrier. So yeah, I've seen war on Fortnite. Hey, do you play Fortnite, man? Dude, my wife and my daughter play Fortnite, and they're actually really good. I can't play it worth a damn. I get freaking smoked like within 2 seconds every time I try to play. How about we end the Fed and let gold backed currency be the standard. I agree with that in theory. I really do. But here's the problem. We don't have that much gold. And that would cause an immediate crash of the current economy. And yeah, Hulk smashed the like button. Right on, brother. Thank you. We don't have a way to get off, at least at a government level, to change our current currency. If you want to change the currency, it needs to be that we're start using some other form of money in parallel, like Bitcoin. You know, scarcity makes it valuable. It makes it valuable, absolutely. But scarcity isn't the only thing that makes it valuable. Gold is really, it's valuable because it's scarce and you can make pretty things out of it and it conducts electricity well. But I ordered a water pump on Amazon today. I can't do that with gold, you know? And how do we go through the transition of, see, we're not really getting off of the dollar by going to something that's gold backed. We're just tying a certain dollar amount to an ounce of gold or a gram of gold or however you want to do it, which is essentially just turning the gold into a fiat. I wish I could come up with a good answer for that. But backing a currency with gold just essentially turns it to a fiat. But with that being said, we've basically done the same thing with oil. I mean, oil is analogous to the dollar. Now our dollar, oh yeah, it's just numbers on a computer. You go and get a home loan, a mortgage. Does actual money, does $250,000 actually move somewhere? No, it didn't exist. It's just numbers on a computer. And this is crazy because it's hard for people to wrap their brain around because it's so simple. It's so simple that a smart person has trouble understanding it. How do I know so much about Bitcoin and fiat? Well, I research it. If there's something I want to know about, I study it. You know, whether that be through, you know, podcasts or whatever. And I'm not saying I know anything about it at all. I know almost enough to realize exactly how stupid I am about it. So I'll say that. But you go and apply for a mortgage. There's not that much money sitting in the bank that gets, you know, John buys house from Jack for $250,000. $250,000 doesn't get moved from John's account or from, you know, your perfect bank. You know, no money is moved there. That money didn't exist. There were just numbers, ones and zeros, that boop, 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 popped up, right? Okay, boop, 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 boop. An amount changed, an Excel file changed, and that's what transferred the money. That money is not actually created. The fiat is debt-based. Therefore, the money is not actually created until you go and make your payment. You make your payment of $2,500. You do that every month until eventually you've paid off your $250,000 worth of debt, plus the interest that was secured during that. And the Fed works the same way. They just boop, 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 boop. They don't print money. They haven't printed anything, you know? There's like, I might be wrong on this. Somebody fact check me on this because I could be wrong. But there was 24 trillion in tax collected, but the amount of dollars actual is like 4 trillion. That money doesn't exist. It's just beep, boop, boop onto an account and then sold in the form of government bonds. and then the money you make from that bond, the yield from that bond is just made up money. It's just fiat. Fiat is fiat. 90% of the money in a bank account is to be invested by the bank. Yeah, exactly. It's a fractional reserve banking. They're required to keep 10%. That blew my mind whenever I learned that. And the thing is, a lot of people that are intelligent people, you just explain that to them, they tell you, you're a conspiracy theorist. Smart people have a hard time understanding it because it's just that damn stupid. It's so simple. But why would they do that? Our government would never do that. It's free. Yeah. The bank, he's exactly right. 90% is automatically invested into loans and things like that, stuff that doesn't exist, money that doesn't exist, while the bank actually keeps on hand 10%. Yeah, have an extremely difficult, yeah, you just said what I said, have a difficult time explaining it to, yeah, you're better. It's easier to explain that to a dumbass because a smart person just overthinks it. Yeah. Was it Henry Ford that said there'd be a freaking revolution if people understood how our banking system actually worked? Normally these live streams switch to firearms discussion, which I love me some firearms. But it's kind of nice to see something other than that. Although I'm open to discussing firearms. All right, anybody? Let's see. I have an idea. Let's start an online movement where we all go to the bank the same day, withdraw our money. We don't have to spend it. Yeah. You remember us? The SBV Bank, and these other banks that have failed. I absolutely collapse. And what's the solution? They sell it. The FDIC comes in, shuts it down, seizes the assets, and sells it to JP Morgan or Chase. You know, and the goal in that is to go to these large banks that are the only ones that exist. Feed the guppy to a bigger guppy, feed that to a bass, feed that to a shark, and then feed that big shark to a huge shark. Yeah, that's what I was saying. That happened with SVB, and it's just a way for them to eliminate small banks. And the feds come in, and JP Morgan says, man, these are terrible assets. I don't want that. Why would I buy that? And the bank's like, hey, we give you the monies. You want the monies, you take the bank, man. We give you the monies, just do it. We don't want to have Tommy over here knocking your kneecaps out. We come to help you. Well, that's what happens. And that's how all these terrible, terrible assets get sold to these big banks, and they may not even want it. You get to a certain level, Vanguard, State Street, BlackRock, JP Morgan, and, at that level, it's, we're not talking about, banks that you and I are allowed to go to anymore. And the ultimate goal is for them to buy them up. And I'll tell you something, BlackRock, State Street, Vanguard, the three most powerful companies, corporations in the world, they control everything. And the largest owners of BlackRock are State Street and Vanguard. Vanguard, the largest owners, shareholders are State Street and BlackRock. So they're giant companies that absolutely influence global decisions that are far beyond what our president does, and who they all own each other. And almost every single company in the S&P 500 has a large ownership in BlackRock, State Street, and Vanguard. And like I said, all three of those companies, the biggest shareholders of them are each other. You know, what firearms do you have? Because, well, I might as well. I'll tell you what, I'm not going to talk about what firearms I have, but I'll talk about some of them that I wanted to get. What do you think that the BRICS nations gaining power and more people moving off the dollar could actually help our system or push us to create a more sensible one? I don't think it'll do either. I don't know what's going to happen with BRICS. And for those of you that don't know, BRICS is the Brazil, Russia, India, China. What's the S one? Somebody tell me what the S is. My brain just quit working. But anyway, it's the agreement that they're gonna play finance together. Yeah, Singapore. Yeah. It might be Singapore. I don't remember. If somebody knows for sure, be sure and tell me, because I'm curious now. I think it will weaken our system. It will devalue the dollar. I don't think that we're going to change, honestly. I know that we need to. I don't think we're going to change anything. And the reason why I don't think we're going to change a damn thing is because those who are in power will wreck everything to remain in power. Is it Saudi Arabia? I don't know. I don't think it might be Saudi Arabia. I don't remember. I'll think of it here in a minute. If it is Saudi Arabia, for sure, let me know. I don't know if you're suggesting that or saying that's who it is. Although Saudi Arabia gets enough money from us. You look at Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia was flat freaking poor. People starving to death and everything until we went over there and gave them a little bit of freedom. South Africa. That's it. Yes, thank you, Corwin. South Africa. That's exactly who it was. Thank you. But Saudi Arabia is propped up by oil, and Saudi Arabia was actually one of the biggest reasons why the petrodollar was there. And newsflash, their agreement is coming to an end. And although they haven't completely moved off their agreement to only trade with OPEC in US dollars, they haven't stopped doing that, but they've just kind of started thinking, we could do this in another currency, which would cause a big issue if they do. Saudi just agreed to take the yen. There's a bunch of, I tell you what, man, Japan don't care, dude. They're kind of sticking the big FU middle finger to everybody. They're doing business with whoever they want, man. They're doing business with Russia, all these people, and we're over here like, hey, Japan, what's up? And they're like, hey, we got to make a dollar somehow. So yeah, they're Japan's doing their own economic thing, and they don't really care. China's currency, maybe it's not the yen. Oh, yeah, I don't know. Actually, this is the first I've heard about them trading in the yen. But Saudi, oh yeah, they'll make a deal with China. Absolutely. I think Saudi Arabia is, you ever have that friend that you've known your whole life, but if you were to meet them today, you would hate each other, but they're your best friend and they've been there for you. And we've helped each other out a lot. So anytime they need anything, you're going to be there. That's our relationship with Saudi Arabia. And that's absolutely based on oil and finance and nothing else. Absolutely nothing else. Trucking industry is falling apart. Dude, that is absolutely true. It's bad enough now that I wouldn't get in the trucking industry just because I don't know if the stability of that industry is gonna, I mean, I know there's always gonna be work, but am I gonna be doing the work of 17 different people? I don't know. Um, so what else? Oh yeah, somebody asked me about firearms. What I carry daily is a Glock 19. I'd show you right now, but it's live, and YouTube will pee slap me if I show guns on live. Glock 19, I've carried it for all of my adult life. As far as a fighting rifle, just good old Bravo Company AR-15. Nothing beats it. Well, a lot beats it. A lot equals it, but it serves my purpose. I also have a Palmetto that I love, and I guess the two of those probably get an equal amount of truck time. My dad's a trucker, and I'm young. So are you gonna go be a trucker? Way win? Carry a Smith & Wesson 9mm? I actually have, if I'm not carrying my Glock 19, which is almost always, I'll carry an M&P Shield in 9mm, and I really like it. I've just carried my Glock 19 long enough that I don't notice it. Sorry, trying to read through here. Yeah, I have no issue with the Palmetto stuff. It's everything I've had from Palmetto works fine. And you need to be CQing your own stuff anyway. So, yeah, do that. As far as I don't even have a holster for it yet. Always forget to buy. Y'all, dude, if you don't have a holster, you don't need the, you buy the holster and the stockpile ammo, then you buy the gun. As far as PSA is poverty tier, dude, it may be, but the people that say that have never ran one hard, right? And I've put some hard rounds through a PSA, and I have never had any trouble with it. So, contrary to what the YouTube people say, I've had really good luck with mine. Like what you're saying. Hey, man, sleep good. Sleep good, man. I'm about to get in bed, too. I got to be up. I got to get up at 4 o'clock, and it is 9:20 my time. So, thank you for the sub. I love Biden. Biden is so cool, so smart. Said no one. I don't know. Said somebody, but I don't know who they are. Most of them that said that were part of a media, and they were paid to say that. PSA has good ammo deals on 9mm right now, though. Do they? I've never bought ammo from Palmetto. I always buy ammo locally. I probably could save a lot of money if I bought it online from somewhere, but I just never have. Trump all the way. Yeah, he's the best looking turd bag that we got, so that's who I'm going to vote for. 1,000. Dude, it's crazy. I mean, you hear about these good deals, and I remember my first 1,000 rounds of 5.56 that I bought. It's like $160. I can't imagine doing that now. But inflation hasn't happened. Who is Mean Green? Is that somebody that I know? All right, last call. Any? The old night. Yeah, right. Any last calls for something to discuss or anything like that? Questions? Want my opinion on something, even though my opinion is probably pretty damn wrong? Before we go ahead and shut this stream down, once again, hit the thumbs up button. Leave me a comment and subscribe. I really do want to grow the channel. I want to turn this into something that's actually a kind of a cool podcast. I guess nobody. When is your next live stream? I need to figure out when I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to shoot for Wednesdays. Um, that's what I'm going to shoot for. I'm going to shoot for every Wednesday. I cannot guarantee that right now. But that's my goal is Wednesdays at 8 o'clock. Thoughts on Arrow lowers? I've got a bunch of them, dude. They went on sale really, really cheap one time, and I bought a bunch. Lowers, pick a lower. A lower is a lower is a lower. However, I think Arrow Precision probably has the best value for dollar spent on anything to do with an AR-15. You have a wealth. Hey, don't accuse me of having a wealth of knowledge. I don't. I know just enough to get me in trouble. So I don't claim to be an expert on anything. But I do appreciate your kind words. All right, guys. I guess I'm going to shut this bad boy down. I'll see y'all next Wednesday, 8 o'clock. Or, I don't know. I may go wild and decide to turn the camera on sometime between now and then. I do have several videos planned for the YouTube channel. I actually got a partnership with a supposedly company to do some mechanic work. So hopefully I'll be able to do that this weekend. Yeah, lots of stuff. Lots of videos coming about the homestead and everything else going to be posted to the YouTube channel. So y'all go check those out. All right, until next time. Hey, you guys be safe.